It's election season. And this year in June, you have midterms. It's not a presidential election year. In presidential election years, people often vote. They don't generally vote. And then in midterms, when your local representatives are up, your congressmen, your state senators, United States senators, mayors, governors, the people closest to you in your state, there seems to be a waning sense of participation. And I've always thought, wait a minute. Sure, the president is important. You want to have a stable president, somebody of sound judgment. But you also want that on the local level as well. You don't want lunatics running your local state government either. So it's very important to participate in all elections. You just have to. It's not like elections happen all the freaking time. So to make a plan to actually vote for people who you believe personally are going to do a better job for you, your family, your community, you have to take the time to put the effort in. And there's usually a huge drop-off in participation, in large part from minority communities. Yeah, sure, there's a drop-off in non-minority communities as well, but not to the substantial proportion as in non-minority communities. It's really a shame, but a lot of it falls to candidates who don't go out and tell their community why midterms, why local governance is super important to their welfare and well-being. Now we have a huge race for Senate in North Carolina this year. It's an open seat. And this is rare because in politics, usually politicians run forever. They seldom retire. So seats are seldom open, meaning that you're not facing an incumbent with lots of money, lots of name recognition, lots of influence. No, this is an open seat this year in North Carolina for the United States Senate. And you have two distinctly different candidates running. Ted Budd for the Republicans and Cheri Beasley for the Democrats. Now, me personally, I'm supporting Cheri Beasley 1,000%. And I'm going to tell you why. Because her opponent, Ted Budd, is an extremist. He'll do anything for the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago, including lying for the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. You heard me correctly. I said he'll do anything for the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. And we know who that is. Including lying on behalf of the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. Look, Ted Budd, as a Congress member, after the violent insurrection on January 6th, went back into the Capitol building and lied to the American people and told the American citizenry that the election in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan was somehow fraudulent, and he voted against certification of our current president, Joe Biden, and our current vice president, Kamala Harris. He voted against the certification. He was one of 147 Republicans to do this on January 6th. This was after the first attack in our nation's history by citizens of our Capitol building. So he lied and continued to lie. When someone shows you who they are, you have to believe them. Ted Budd has shown everyone in North Carolina that he's super fringe and super extreme. Everyone now has admitted, including the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago to the Washington Post, that he lost. But Ted Budd, solely for political expediency, on January 6th, continued to lie to the American people that somehow the election was fraudulent, even though he was elected, re-elected, that same November, on the same ballot. Even though Donald Trump narrowly won his state of North Carolina. So he didn't allege fraud. Get this. This is how you can tell he's a liar. He didn't allege fraud in a narrow win for Donald Trump in North Carolina. Only in states that Donald Trump narrowly lost did he allege fraud. He didn't speak at all about any recounts in North Carolina. He only wanted recounts in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin. Now, doesn't that strike you as odd? That in his own state, where the election was also close, no fraud, but in states that he knows nothing about, there was rampant, widespread fraud. No, Ted Budd is a liar. And he's playing to a fringe, extreme group. But wait, there's more. Ted Budd was against withdrawing troops from Afghanistan. So if it was up to Ted Budd, we would still be in Afghanistan. Understand this. We would still be in Afghanistan if it was up to Ted Budd. Voting rights. He says he's against the For the People Act because minors would be allowed to vote. That's another Ted Budd lie. What the legislation calls for is to be registered if you're a minor. You wouldn't be allowed to vote until you're 18. Ted Budd knows what's in the language of the bill. But he lied to you, the citizenry, as to why he opposed it. Codifying Roe. Oh no, not Ted Budd. No. So he's a very far fringe, extremist conservative who's going to masquerade as a moderate Republican. But we know increasingly nowadays there are very few moderate Republicans left in the Republican Party. It's a party of batshit crazy kooks, fringe conspiracy theorists, and people who talk about replacement theory and ethno-states. This is the modern day Republican Party. They don't talk about legislation and doing anything for the citizenry. In fact, the Affordable Care Act, Ted Budd voted against it and voted to repeal it. Can you imagine that? In this whole global pandemic, If America did not have the Affordable Care Act, how many citizens would not have had access to health care? Meaning they would have probably died more so than what we've already lost due to COVID-19. Ted Budd voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. So all you rural individuals who already don't have that many rural hospitals, who are on Affordable Care Act, if Ted Budd had it his way, you wouldn't have had any health care. I just want you to realize and think about this. Because you can't say that certain people didn't have foresight. You can say that other people don't have good judgment. And Ted Budd is a clear example of never having good judgment. Short term or long term. It's crystal clear. Now on the other hand, Cheri Beasley. She's been a judge. She hasn't been in Congress, in the Senate. But she has been in elective office as a judge. And you look at her record, she's done a good job. She's a very popular public official in the state of North Carolina. Sure, she hasn't had to take votes like Ted Budd to put her on the record. But she's had to arbitrate matters individually impacting individuals in North Carolina that are far more impactful to you on an individual level than some of the things Ted Budd has done. And now she's running for the United States Senate. This whole baby formula shortage, this is key. Ted Budd just recently voted against allowing for more baby formula into this country. Cheri Beasley says, wait a minute, with a shortage, you would vote against allowing safe baby formula on an emergency basis to be provided to your citizens in North Carolina. That's fringe. That's extreme. It's not in the mainstream of what North Carolinians want. You're telling me if you're a Republican, you don't want baby formula for your children? If you're an independent, you don't want baby formula for your children? If you're a Democrat, you don't want baby formula for your children? This is what Ted Budd seems to think. So he ran down to go and speak with the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago in April 23rd of 2021. And then 5 days later, April 28th of 2021, he announces a Senate run. And you know the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago endorsed him right away. Because he kissed the ring. He went to Mar-a-Lago and said, anything you want, I'll do it. So he's not going to be a United States Senator for North Carolina if he's elected. He's going to be a United States Senator for the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. He's going to be a cult member. He's already shown his true colors. He lied to the American people and all North Carolinians. He knows good and well the election was not stolen from the lunatic. That the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago lost fair and square. He knows this. Everyone does. But he's placating to his cult following purely for votes. Look, it's politics. You do what you need to do to get votes. Except lie to the American citizenry, like a presidential election was stolen, and then have thousands of people come and attack your nation's capital based off of that lie. You generally don't do that for votes. But there's no level of irresponsibility that the modern day Republican Party won't stoop to. Nothing at all. You'll have newscasters every night talk about fringe, extreme conspiracy theories, like replacement theory, that they know it's not true. And then they'll act all shocked and surprised that a kook travels hundreds of miles to murder people based off the color of their skin. They'll say, I had nothing to do with this. I didn't buy the individual gun. I didn't tell him to drive up to Buffalo. No, but what you did do is you filled their heads up with extreme racist rhetoric. You know that there are mentally unstable individuals in every society. And currently, right now, the modern Republican Party gives voice and momentum to kooks, batshit crazy individuals. And then when they rampage us into society, they want to take no responsibility or accountability for what they do. This is the modern day Republican Party. Now, Cheri Beasley has a real chance at winning this Senate seat in North Carolina. But like anything, it's going to be difficult. Very, very difficult. North Carolina is becoming a toss-up state. It's been trending that way for a long period of time. And now it's a pure toss-up state. And generally, in media reporting, they consider toss-up states purple. Wouldn't you know? I don't know why. But that's what they consider it. So we'll roll with that. North Carolina is a purple state. Okay. I told you, turnout is generally low in midterms. But for some reason, in 2022, I think that's going to change. Wherever you go, whoever you speak to, folks are paying attention. They might not know every detail, but they're paying a lot more attention than what they used to. If you look at the primary election in North Carolina, turnout was up from the last midterm in 2018. Turnout was slightly up, still lower than the presidential, but up over the last midterm. So you can expect that number to gradually increase in the general, for sure. But it's got to increase a lot more if Democrats want to win, not Republicans. Because their base, for whatever reason, is always motivated. They're always motivated. But when it comes to Democrats and their constituency groups, there's always this sense of apathy. That has to change. If you want change in this country, you cannot be apathetic. Sure, things are bad. And things have been bad for a long period of time. Some would argue that it's never been good for everyone. I wouldn't disagree with this. But apathy is certainly not going to change the condition. Saying I'm not going to vote because I'm upset with everyone. Well, then you're going to keep being upset with everyone because someone will come out and vote for the people you won't support. And they'll win. And you'll be complaining. So we know that doesn't work and that won't change anything. Cheri Beasley has the potential to be the first African American elected to the United States Senate in North Carolina history. Think about this. How long has North Carolina been a state in this union that they've never elected an African American as a United States Senator? So you cannot say that I'm tired of the system because it always does the same thing. Well, yeah, the system is doing the same thing because you keep electing the same people to the system. You can't expect a different outcome if you do the same exact thing. Ted Budd is not going to change a damn thing in North Carolina, besides make it worse for people who are already marginalized and oppressed in North Carolina. So if he wins, the marginalization and oppression will continue and most likely get worse. So at least, at the very minimum, you have to stop him so we can even begin to have a conversation about turning things around. Now we get into the nitty-gritty. How do you win in North Carolina if you're Cheri Beasley in 2022? This is the shit I like. Look, you gotta get into the weeds in this shit. To parse out what's needed and what's not needed. What's needed is huge mobilization. Huge mobilization. But not in the whole state. See, Democrats always do this bullshit. In my opinion, they do bullshit. They say, I'm going to run the whole state and campaign in the whole entire state. I'm like, why? You don't need the campaign in the whole entire state. Am I the only one that can look at numbers and look at a map and look at colors and say, why the fuck would I go to a place that's super red and waste my time? Sure, I can maybe get 10 more votes there. But why wouldn't I focus 90% of my energy mobilizing people who I know are going to vote for me, who generally don't vote in midterm elections? You say, what do you mean? There's a couple of counties in North Carolina that if I was quarterbacking and running Cheri Beasley's campaign, I would be like, Cheri, listen to me. Fuck what all the political strategists are going to tell you. Listen to me. You gotta run up the total in the tally in counties that you know are already in support of you. Don't worry about going to the outskirts and getting 5 or 10 additional votes. Go to places that are already loyal, that are already supportive, and try to run up the tallies there. Get more people out. Case in point, Orange County is heavily Democratic and progressive. Joe Biden in 2020 ran up the total against the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. It was a 60-30 type of percentage in Orange County. You gotta get all of those people back out to the polls. Or at least 50% of them. Because you already know that they're not going to vote for Ted Budd. If they didn't support the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago, they're certainly not going to support Ted Budd. So Orange County is a county you got to heavily focus on. You got to have a lot of field offices, campaign offices in Orange County. You got to bring out people to vote, canvass, make phone calls, knock on doors in Orange County. You got to hold campaign and town hall events in Orange County. Guilford County, another solidly progressive Democratic county, Guilford County in North Carolina. The lunatic from Mar-a-Lago got trounced in Guilford in 2020. That's where our people are. But they got to come back out. So Cheri Beasley, you got to hold a lot of events in Guilford County. A lot of surrogates have got to come in and campaign and stand for you in Guilford County. You got to have a lot of canvassers every weekend. Go out, speak to voters, drop off campaign literature, bring people yard signs, tell them to volunteer, make phone calls, write letters. We know Guilford County is Beasley country. Durham, North Carolina. I think it was like 80-20. Biden to Trump. Maybe 80-17. You gotta run up the tally in Durham. Everywhere you go in Durham, you gotta see Beasley. Billboards everywhere. Cheri Beasley is running. Vote for Cheri Beasley this November. Billboards everywhere. Storefront offices and small businesses. You gotta put up Cheri Beasley signs in your window. Students who are working on campuses. You gotta set up remote satellite offices. And we're gonna get to that right now. There's 11 HBCUs in North Carolina. 11. And if you don't know what an HBCU is, it stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. The largest HBCU in America, North Carolina A&T, around 11,000 students and faculty. That's got to become a de facto campaign office and location for Cheri Beasley. Full stop. Now you're going to say, wait a minute, it's a university. You can't make a university political. Bullshit. Liberty University has been the forward-thinking home of modern and old conservatism in America ever since it was founded. So if Liberty, a Christian university, can be the home of conservatism, then you can't say the North Carolina A&T cannot be the home for Cheri Beasley in this election. Have you seen Greg Locke, the pastor in Tennessee, from the pulpit on Sunday, say that if you vote Democrat, you're voting for demons. You're a devil worshiper. Now he can do that from the pulpit and have an IRS tax exemption status that I recently heard was taken away from him. But if they can do this from the pulpit, you've got to certainly use all the resources and tools at your disposal for you to gain and achieve victory as well. North Carolina A&T. If I'm walking in there starting in August, late August, September, if I'm walking in there as a student, there should be a mob of people ambushing me, asking me, am I registered? Do you know about the Cheri Beasley, who might become the first African American to be senator in North Carolina history? Are you planning to vote? Have you made a plan to vote? Is your family registered? Do you know where your polling location is? Do you want stickers? Do you want yard signs? There should be multiple locations on that campus where I can find out all of that information, where I can make phone calls and meet up with individuals, the campus, the university. The dorm should be canvassed. Everyone in the dorm should know Cheri Beasley is running and that she's your candidate. I mean, this is how you politically organize if you want to win. If you don't want to win, you don't do shit. You might as well not run. But if you want to win, I'm telling you how you win elections. I'm telling you what I would fucking do. If I was running for any office, I'm going to use every goddamn tool at my disposal. I'm calling in all the chips. Everything. I'm laying it all out on the table. There's no excuse. Learn how to do politics in America. Because other communities know how to do politics. I'm telling you this. It's a fact. Every HBCU in North Carolina should be activated. They should all have satellite offices for Cheri Beasley. Multiple satellite offices. Every student that walks onto that campus, they better know that they're registered. And they better get their ass to the polls or to vote early. It's just that simple. I would do town halls at every HBCU if I'm Cheri Beasley. I would send volunteers to every HBCU. Every weekend, we're traveling, we're carpooling to Durham. We're carpooling to Orange County, Guilford County. We're knocking on doors, we're leaving leaflets, we're making phone calls. And then the cream of the crop, the big one. I looked at the numbers very closely and I said, wait a minute. This is a gold mine that nobody is talking about. Mecklenburg County is what I'm speaking on. Now, Mecklenburg County in 2020 went overwhelmingly for Joe Biden. He got 373,000 votes out of Mecklenburg County. The lunatic from Mar-a-Lago got about 170,000. Mecklenburg County, in the primary this year, 14% of all registered voters voted in Mecklenburg County. You know what that means? 86% of Mecklenburg County didn't cast a vote. Now, if I'm looking at this and I say 14% voted, and that's an increase from 2018, the last midterm, that means 86% didn't vote at all. Let's say that number ticks up to 18% in the general. That means that 82% of the county is not even planning to vote. In a county that's super democratic, super progressive, and hates Ted Budd to its core. Why do I say Mecklenburg County hates Ted Budd? Because it's the only county in 2020, the primary, the Republican primary, where Ted Budd got trounced by Pat McCrory. Mecklenburg County hates Ted Budd. And for good reason. They know he's an extremist. So if I'm Cheri Beasley, I'm running for the United States Senate to represent Mecklenburg County. Oh, my ass is in Mecklenburg County 9 out of 10 days of the week, and maybe even 10 out of 10 days, every day, I'm doing some type of event in Mecklenburg County. Every day. There wouldn't be a day I don't enter Mecklenburg County. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mecklenburg County is the home of Charlotte. Charlotte is the city in Mecklenburg County. This is home to Bank of America, TIAA, Mecklenburg County government, libraries, art centers. There's so much in Mecklenburg County. People every day are moving to Charlotte. It's huge. It's popping. I might even visit one of these days. Fingers crossed, you never know. But if I'm Cheri Beasley, Mecklenburg County is ground zero in this election. You got to do everything in your power to turn out Mecklenburg County. Look, I'll put it to you this way. If Cheri Beasley can get a 50% turnout, voter turnout in Mecklenburg County, she can get trounced everywhere else across the state and still win the election. That's how important Mecklenburg County is. If I'm the DNC, the Democratic Senatorial Congressional Committee, I'm pouring all my money into Mecklenburg County to do a huge mobilization. In the fall, when surrogates come, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, all the surrogates, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, all of them have to focus on Mecklenburg County. If I'm Cheri Beasley, I would do a bus tour all across Mecklenburg County. My ass would be in Mecklenburg County every fucking minute to make sure people came out to vote. Because I already know everyone in Mecklenburg County hates Ted Budd and they love me. So I've got to do everything in my power to drive up participation. And the only way you can do that is mobilization. You've got to send everything into Mecklenburg County. Everyone and everything has to be in that county if you want to win. There has to be a huge grassroots effort in Mecklenburg County. You can raise so much money in Mecklenburg County. Look at the corporations that are there and how much revenue they have. Executives, employees, they can write huge checks to Cheri Beasley. She can have fundraiser after fundraiser after fundraiser in Charlotte. You need at least 50 campaign offices in Mecklenburg County. Every little community in Mecklenburg County should have a local Cheri Beasley campaign office. Even if it's a small hole in the wall where you just go and pick up yard signs or bumper stickers. Look, the key to Cheri Beasley winning in North Carolina is Mecklenburg County. Fuck what anybody else says. Don't go to any rural counties and spend a lot of time there when you can win the entire state if you mobilize and energize Mecklenburg County. Please don't do this. If you want to win, run as a senator from Mecklenburg County. Ted Budd will go to Mecklenburg County and he will be hated, so he won't spend very much time there. He'll try to go to Durham and he'll be hated and he won't spend very much time there. He's going to spend time trying to run up the tally in the rural areas of North Carolina, where his base is. And that's smart for him to do. Democrats, on the other hand, never do what's smart for them. What's smart for them is to spend 99% of their time in the bigger cities, to run up the tallies, to try to drown out all the other rural counties. Mecklenburg County, if the turnout is high enough, that one county alone can win Cheri Beasley, the state of North Carolina. I've looked at the numbers. I know how to do basic mathematics. Ted Budd is hated in Mecklenburg County. Mecklenburg County should be Beasley country. It has to be. Billboards, bumper stickers, everything, yard signs, graffiti. If I walk into Mecklenburg County, I should know Cheri Beasley is your preferred candidate. It should be clearly stated by what I see visually. Sometimes people forget about shit. There's a lot of shit going on. But if I see a billboard that says vote for Cheri Beasley this November, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There's an election for the United States Senate. Cheri Beasley is running. I better remember to vote. A lot of people are visual learners. They say on average in a campaign you have to touch base with a voter at least 9 to 11 times, reminding them to vote. You call them, you knock on their door. You call them again, you knock on their door. You ask them, have they received their ballot? Have you turned in your ballot? I know all this shit. I've worked on many campaigns. 9 out of 10 campaigns that I've worked on, the candidates have been victorious because they've done what was necessary to win. They left no stone unturned. And the campaigns that I've worked on where the candidates lost, it's because they did a bad job. Pure and simple. %90 of all the resources has to go to Mecklenburg County. Ted Budd is hated in Mecklenburg County. Hated. Despised. Mecklenburg County is Cheri Beasley country. You gotta run up the total so high, so big, that it drowns out a lot of the rural communities that you know are not gonna vote for you. In politics, it's all about who can motivate their constituents to get out and vote. You know the rural constituents are going to be motivated by the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago. He's going to come and campaign there. So we have to campaign in the areas that are loyal to us. Guilford, Durham, Mecklenburg, Orange, Buncrumby, all of those areas, we have to have huge turnout. Mecklenburg County is the key. There should be no less than 50 campaign offices. I would say 100 campaign offices for Cheri Beasley in Mecklenburg County alone. The whole campaign should be headquartered in Mecklenburg County. I'd be up in that bitch ass joint every fucking moment. Bus tours. You gotta do what it takes to win. You gotta put the resources where they're going to be most effective if you want to win. Mecklenburg County is just that. The HBCUs are just that. You've got to put the resources and use the tools that you have available to win, if you want to win. Now, if you want to lose, I say don't even run. Just let your opponent lollygag into office. But if you're running a race and you want our support and our help, you're going to have to do what makes sense. Because I'm not going to waste my time, nor anyone else's time, on a campaign this fall. I want to make this clear. We're not going to waste our time on campaigns that don't want to win. So if you don't want to win, you won't see us. We're going to analyze everything the candidates are doing. And if it looks like some fuck shit, I'm going to say I'm not going. I'm not going to waste my energy on fuck shit. I want victory. I want to beat these goddamn Nazis and these white supremacists. And Ted Bundy is a white supremacist who has Nazi tendencies. I don't think North Carolina wants that shit. Remember, it's a purple state. It's 50-50. The message in all of this is you have to do what's necessary to win. Conservatives have been masters in this country at doing whatever the fuck is necessary to win. I commend them. I don't agree with their philosophy at all, but I will commend conservatives more so than I will socialists, Marxists, progressives, or any of the rest of the things that align with our values. Conservatives do what they need to do for victory. We don't. And that needs to change this year. We need to do whatever it takes to win. Whatever. Because you know they do, and they will. Energize Mecklenburg County, and we win the state of North Carolina, the Senate seat, hands down. If you don't focus on Mecklenburg County, and you do this fuck shit, where you want to tour the state, and you want to reach out to every voter, because you want to pick up 5 votes in a rural county, we're going to lose. So if you want to win, you mobilize and energize where your people are, where your supporters are, and where your opponent is hated and despised. Am I saying don't go to any of the rural counties? No. But what I'm saying is, when you look at percentage of time that you spend, 95% of the time should be spent in Mecklenburg County. Fuck all this, I want to go to all the counties and speak with everyone. No. If it comes down to where do I need to go to win, it's Mecklenburg County. It's Orange County. It's Durham. It's Guilford. Now, if you want to win, that's where you put the resources and the effort. If you want to lose and say, I ran a very good campaign, but I lost, then you do the same fuck shit the Democrats always do. And that's why they always lose. Because they never talk with their supporters. They say, oh, fuck you. I'm going to go talk with other people, or I'm going to try to convince them to vote for me. heard of this shit. Do you see the lunatic from Mar-a-Lago going to Durham holding rallies? No. I agree with him on that one thing alone. I would never go to a rural area that's solidly conservative and hold a fucking rally. I'm going to go and talk with our people, our supporters, and tell them why it's important. That's what conservatives do. Ted Budd missed votes in the House of Representatives that was very, very important. And you say, why did he skip votes and have other people vote proxy for him? Let me tell you why. He skipped votes and had other members of the Republican Party vote proxy for him, so he can go and speak at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. So speaking to extreme conservatives was more important than doing his elected duty. This is what I mean by they do anything to win. You think a Democrat would go and not have votes to come and speak with socialists? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. We have to keep them 10 feet apart. Not even 6 feet, 10 feet apart. Even though we're the most loyal to these bastards. But the treatment we receive is abhorrent, to say the least. They don't do that on the conservative end. That much I do respect. They go and talk to their people. It's like the Democrat Party hates their own supporters. But then on election day, they're telling you, we need you to come out and vote. Even though we haven't spoke to you. We haven't invested any resources in your community. But we need your vote. Now you pull this fuck shit in 2022. And you see, don't you get your ass trounced. You go and you speak to your supporters. And you mobilize and energize your base. And you stand a chance of gaining victory. That's how everyone does elections. Besides Democrats. Nobody does this fuck shit anywhere else. Besides Democrats. And then they're shocked when they lose elections. They're like, I don't know what happened. I tell you what happened. You didn't speak to your voters. You ignored them. And you took them for granted. We can't do this shit anymore. Not if we want to win. There's 11 HBCUs. The largest HBCU is in North Carolina. That should be the biggest Cheri Beasley headquarters in all of North Carolina. Do you think if I had a socialist university and I was running for elected office and it was a university or a nonprofit, that I wouldn't turn that shit into a headquarters? Are you fucking crazy? I say, this is a socialist university or nonprofit? Turn that bitch into a campaign headquarters. We're doing everything out of that bitch. You got to do what it takes to win. You can't have victory if you don't put in the effort to achieve victory. Ted Budd is a good campaigner. I will give him this. He's very good. I've listened to him. He's very good. Cheri Beasley is very good. So you've got two good campaigners. It's going to be a dogfight in North Carolina. If Cheri Beasley wants to win, and I think she does, Cheri, take off the gloves. Don't play fair. Because they're not going to play fair. So don't you play fair. Look, if I know that my opponent loves to be in the mud, is a pig, I'm going to take off all my clothes and go play in the mud too. I have to be above the fray. No, fuck that shit. I'm doing whatever it takes to win. I don't believe in being above the fray. That's bullshit. Campaigns and elections are brutal. You have to do what it takes to win. And I'm about victory. Conservatives know how to win because they'll do anything to win. I'm the same way, only I disagree with their fundamental philosophy, wholesale. But when it comes to that, I'll do anything for victory. Besides cheat and fraud. But if I have certain tools and resources at my disposal, you best believe I'm going to utilize them. Mecklenburg County hates Ted Budd with a passion. It was the only county he lost in the primary, the Republican primary. They can't stand his guts there. And it's the largest county in North Carolina in terms of votes for a Democrat. I'm putting everything there. I'm putting everything there. We'll see what the Democrats do. They usually don't know how to achieve victory. This is why they lose. They get punked all the time by conservatives in this country. Democrats always get punked by conservatives because they do fuck shit. We'll see if that changes in 2022. Again, this is going to be a rough, knock 'em out, drag 'em out fight. Look, if it looks like the Democrats are going to actually run a good campaign in North Carolina, we'll come, we'll assist. But if it looks like they're going to do some fuck shit, I got places to go, people to see, and things to do. Because there are going to be places where Democrats are going to need to fight. It is going to be a battle like hell this year for victory. We've got to do everything to win this battle. Everything. Because I guarantee you, those bastards on the other side definitely will. And I'm all about victory. I don't like defeat. I don't fuck with defeat. It happens. You win some, you lose some. But if you lose, you better have a goddamn good reason why you lost. I'm about victory. And victory is achievable in North Carolina if we do it the right way. Good luck to Cheri Beasley this November. And I look forward to assisting a good campaign. Not a bad one. A good campaign. Cheri, you go to Mecklenburg. You spend 90% of your time in Mecklenburg. You hold town halls and rallies in Mecklenburg. Fundraisers in Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg County is Beasley County. For all intents and purposes, you're running to be senator from Mecklenburg County. I'd be like, Beasley is up in Mecklenburg County every day. You can have all the people in North Carolina observing this saying, wait a minute, isn't Cheri Beasley up there every day? What the fuck is up with that shit? Why is she always in Mecklenburg County? Because she wants to win. She wants victory. And that's how you do it, by speaking to your people. Good luck out there in North Carolina.